My name is Caitlin Johnson. Today I want to give you a high-level overview on my paper entitled Concepts of Kinesics in Detecting Deception in Interviews and Interrogation. I encourage you to read the entire document, which I will provide at your request. First, let's give a definition. Just what is kinesics in deception? Kinesics in deception. Deception. Deception detection refers to the investigative practices used to determine a person's truthfulness and credibility. Kinesics. The interpretation of body language, such as facial expressions and gestures, or more formally, nonverbal behavior, related to a movement, either of any body part or the whole. Now, let's look at a brief history of kinesics and deception. The history of kinesics. In 1872, Charles Darwin developed nature-nurture theory. In 1885, Francis Warner also contributed. Franz Boas, the father of American anthropology, focused on the hidden meaning of dances of an Indian tribe and launched the field of kinesics. Paul Ekman, pioneer in study of emotions, and Ray Birdwhistell, father of kinesics. Looking back at the history of deception, I found there were some interesting ways to determine whether someone was not truthful. Ancient Egyptians thought that rubbing a big toe on the ground was one of the ways to determine whether someone was truthful or not. The ancient Chinese found a method using dry rice. Native Americans used a hot blade. Franz Gall thought that mapping a picture of the human skull, the science of phrenology, was also a way to determine whether someone was truthful or not. Cesare Lombroso created the first modern-day lie detector using a glove. Paul Ekman, the world's foremost human lie detector, developed the theory of hotspots. That was also one of the ways to determine whether someone was truthful or not. Let's talk about how some of these theories are used and by whom. In human resources, these theories are used to evaluate truthfulness of people seeking a job. So, be careful how you sit in the chair, how you cross your arms, and how you use your eyes. Police use these theories to conduct traffic using hand signals, also to interview and interrogate criminals. These theories are also used in sports and the military, even on Wall Street during trading of stocks. Let's talk about some cases in the criminal justice system involving how kinesics was used to solve the case. Scott Peterson's eyes often shifted to the side when an interviewer asked him a difficult question. He changed past tense statements to present when he talked about his missing wife. Tears surfaced regularly, but he cried without losing composure. In 2004, this telltale kinesics helped convict Scott Peterson of his first-degree murder of his pregnant wife and second-degree murder of his unborn child. Scott Peterson's case is also intertwined with deception. Peterson's behavior was aloof, even playing off as they sought the bodies of his wife and child. Detecting deception, the police gave him opportunities to come forth with information and demonstrate his innocence. He failed most of these tests. When interviewed by police on the first night Lacey was missing, he declined to take a polygraph test and continued to refuse to take a polygraph test going forward. In the following days, police said Scott did not ask them many questions and seemed unconcerned about the investigation's progress. Not a husband or father-to-be should behave in these circumstances. Police noted Scott's strange behavior, such as how he couldn't remember the kind of bait he'd used when he supposedly went fishing the morning Lacey went missing, or what he prioritized during the investigation. One detective said his significant concerns were his car door hitting his other car door in the driveway, or me taking a picture of his boat in his shop, or getting a receipt for the pink slipper and sunglasses the tracking dog used for Lacey's scent. He seemed aloof and refused to speak at a public visual held for Lacey and the unborn baby, but he was present. He was also caught laughing with some bystanders during the visual and was later found making a phone call to his secret girlfriend. He did not appear to be solemn. During an interview, he damagingly referred to Lacey in the past tense, although her body had not been found. His eye movements and gestures also provided clues during an interview with television. These were additional signs of his guilt and an example of the use of both the kinesics and detecting deception approaches. From the beginning, Peterson's body language, his aloofness, his overall behavior during interviews, and his overall personality is a prime example of how detectives were able to initially isolate him as the prime suspect before the bodies of his wife and child ever being found. He also exhibited narcissist tendencies. Peterson's behavior is a good lead into the discussion of detecting deception, and that much of the philosophy and techniques discussed in kinesics interconnect with this method. Talk about the next case in the criminal justice system involving detecting deception, Susan Smith. This case is especially relatable to me because it happened in my state, South Carolina, which is my home. I also visited the prison that Susan Smith is currently incarcerated. I explored the case of Susan Smith, a young mother and wife of two from Union, South Carolina. In 1994, Smith strapped her two sons, 3-year-old Michael and 14-month-old Alex, into their car seats and pushed the vehicle into a lake. She gained national media attention when she told authorities a black man abducted her sons. As the psychology behind the murder has developed over the last few decades, Smith's upbringing may explain her behavior. Her father died when she was young, and her stepfather abused her for years. She suffered from depression and attempted suicide multiple times. She eventually married David Smith, though their relationship was not good, and she began seeing another man during a separation named Tom Finley. She finally ended their relationship. On October 25th, 1994, she claimed she was carjacked and her two sons kidnapped. Both she and David spent 9 days reaching out to the public for help finding them. Police grew suspicious when she changed her story each time she was questioned. She eventually confessed to drowning her children as a result of feeling suicidal and lonely, especially after her fallout with Finley. The LSI Laboratory Analysis of Detecting Deception for Scientific Interrogation Incorporated revealed points of deception. The scan technique analyzed the language used by Susan in her confession. Even though the subject wanted to present a picture that she was just pressured by a boyfriend, still there is an indication that she intentionally wanted to harm her own kids. Smith was also given 2 polygraphs, and both were questionable, offering clues to the fact she was lying. I have enjoyed researching these 2 theories and more clearly understand that one is sometimes enough to provide convincing evidence of wrongdoing. Still often, the use of both kinesics and detecting deception tactics is key to finding the truth. Thank you for watching.